guys, it's Sarah, and today we're going to talk about all the books that I read in the month of January. I had a very ambitious TBR. I did not get to everything that I wanted to, and I kind of wasn't expecting to, I'll be honest with you guys. 16 books in 1 month is that's an amazing reading month, and I always end up going, how did that happen? It didn't happen this time because I did start feeling a little bit slumpy kind of in the middle of the month. But then, towards the end, I started picking up more steam and just was able to finish a few books. So I have finished 9 books in the month of January, and I do have a few that are ongoing right now. So those will roll into February. So I'll save those for February. But I do have a few that I'm in the middle of. So let's just talk about the books that I finished. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the books that I needed to read for review. Now, some of these I have already reviewed in my January ARCs video, so I will leave that link down below if you haven't seen that. So I'm not going to go into details. I'll just tell you what my star rating was. And if you want any more details about the books and what I thought, definitely go watch that video. I've just already talked about it. So the first one was The Prized Girl by Amy K. Green. And this one was a debut thriller novel, and I really enjoyed it, and I gave that one 4 stars. Then I read Wildfire by Carrie Mack, and this one is a young adult contemporary book, and I gave this one 3 stars. And then I read Diamond City. This is by Francesca Flores. This is the first book in a new trilogy that is going to be coming out. It's a young adult fantasy, and I absolutely love this one, and I gave it 5 stars. And then I picked up You Were There Too by Colleen Oakley, which is an adult contemporary book, and I absolutely was blindsided by this book. I absolutely loved it, and I gave this one 5 stars as well. So those were books that I reviewed for January. So again, if you want to see more about the details of them and what I thought, you got the star ratings, but more details on what I thought about the books, go ahead and watch my January ARCs review video down below. And then I started getting into my February ARCs. So these are books that I read and finished, but they're going to be coming up in a February ARC video. So I'm not going to go into detail. Again, I won't even tell you my star rating, but I will let you know what I finished. And I'm still in the middle of a couple of them. So I'm in the middle of 2 more books for February that I need to finish up, but they are ongoing, and I will be talking about them in February as well. The first one is Foul is Fair. This is by Hannah Capin. So I did finish that one. And then just this morning, I finished Minor Dramas and Other Catastrophes by Kathleen West. And then again, I'm in the middle of 2 more, so more on that around the middle of February. And then I did finish My Dark Vanessa. This is by Kate Elizabeth Russell, and this is one that was supposed to come out in January, which is why I was reading it for January, but the publishing date got pushed back to March, so this will be talked about in my March ARC review. Okay, so 2 more books that I finished in the month of January. First one is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is a book that I read with Krista and a Goodreads group that we are running for the Lord of the Readalong that we're doing this year. We're reading through the entire Lord of the Rings series, and we started with The Hobbit because this is a prequel to The Lord of the Rings, and it has some of the same characters and in the same world and all that stuff. So we wanted to start with this one, and I absolutely loved this. I was very intimidated by it because I was afraid the language was going to be too much for me to process, because this is like the ultimate adult high fantasy world. And this one is actually considered a middle grade book, which I thought was interesting, but then the Lord of the Rings are definitely adult. So this one doesn't have a whole lot of violence though. So I think that's part of it. There is a battle in here, but it's not like super crazy or anything. But I really, really loved it. I fell in love with the characters. Gandalf, I just forget how funny he is. And I absolutely loved the chapters with Gollum, was probably my favorite one. And then the chapter with Smaug as well, when Smaug shows up and him and Bilbo are talking and like interacting and stuff. I just loved that. So I was definitely remembering things from the movie while I was reading the book, because I have seen the movie trilogy already. And there's definitely differences from the movie to from the book to the movie. A lot was added into the movie, and I think the movie was supposed to be, it was kind of made to be more Lord of the Rings-esque versus what happened in here. So, yeah, that was a little interesting And I understand the change. They wanted it to be more like Lord of the Rings versus what this actually is. So it's all right. But yeah, I really, really loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was brilliant. There were some slower parts, and I did have to read it slowly to just kind of digest it. It wasn't something I could speed through, but I was totally okay with that. Whenever I did pick it up, I really did enjoy it. So I loved it. And the last book that I read for January is Midnight at the Electric, and this is by Jodi Lynn Anderson. And this is a book that I did an entire reading vlog on that I just posted, and that was homework from a librarian. And the librarian at my daughter's middle school asked me to read it and review it and see if it would be appropriate for the middle school there. And I did read it. I told you guys all my thoughts on it. I wrote down some things that could have been concerns that she needed to know about, and kind of gave her a synopsis of the book and let her know the things that were questionable in there. And she was perfectly comfortable with everything that was in there, and she ended up adding it to her library collection. And the biggest thing was, she said, what genre would you put this in? Because all her fiction is in genres. And I said, probably science fiction more than anything. It's kind of a mix between historical and science fiction, because the science fiction part, the world has it's almost like post-apocalyptic a little bit. And then it's, one of our main characters is getting ready to go to Mars and live there and, be part of the population on Mars. So that was really science fiction-y. So that's kind of how we classified it. And that's how I've seen it classified more than anything else online as well. So she did end up adding it to her collection. For me personally, I felt that the title of the book and the cover of the book were very misleading. I thought it was a circus book, and it wasn't. And so because of that, it lowered my rating for it, because I just wasn't getting what I thought I was getting. And I ended up giving it 3 stars. Okay, guys, so those are the 9 books that I finished in the month of January. Again, I have some that are ongoing that will just get, finished in February, and that's fine. So I will save those for February's wrap up, but I am in the middle of a few. If you want to see what I'm in the middle of, go ahead and follow me on GoodReads and check out my currently reading shelf. You can see what I'm currently in the middle of, and that's going to be it for me today. So let me know what you guys read in January. What was your favorite? What was your least favorite? Did you have any surprises, any disappointments, all that good stuff? I want to know what your reading month for January was like, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day.